Hello, sacred beings. Welcome to Sacred Her Story podcast. We have beautiful Zoe Jack, who is a kinesiology and has a business named Zode. Did I pronounce it right?
That's right.
Zode Kinesiology. And I'm so excited to have her. She's such a magical woman. And some of us think we know what kinesiology is, and we're going to have Zoe share what it is in her standards because I was like, oh, when she shared what kinesiology is, I was like, oh, that's nothing like here on the West Coast. So, welcome, Zoe. How are you?
Thank you, Jen. I'm good. I'm very good. And thank you to all your Sacred Her Story listeners.
Thank you. Thank
Thank you
you.
for having me here.
I'm excited to have you here because there's so much to learn from you. You're such an incredible woman. And, this is just a way for those who may need your service are there because you offer online and in person. So before I get ahead of myself, let's back it up. So, Zoe, what brought you to Zode Kinesiology? What it was the process? What is your background? Tell us what is all this Zode-ness?
I like that. So, wow. Um, you kind of look at your life and you go, where do I start?
Right.
I'm
And
going
you
to
can
actually
start,
start in the middle.
okay. And I just
I'm
want
going
to
to start in
say
the
you
middle.
can start anywhere and we can go wherever you want to go. So
Excellent.
this is just if you need permission, it's just be you, and this is what we
I can do
encourage. This is our
that.
sacred journey, right?
Yeah,
So the
absolutely.
middle.
So we're going to start at the middle. It seems logical for me right now. So I was working in, no, let's go back a little bit further. I was living in Perth and in Western Australia, and I decided to move over to Sydney for the 2000 Olympics. And I got a paid job working in the 2000 Olympics. I then did the Paralympics. I then worked in with people with intellectual disability as an advocate for them and creating advocacy support for them. That then became managing what we call over here is neighbourhood centres or community centres. And then it was at that place that I got slammed by a couple of staff who didn't want to do their job properly. And I had to performance manage them. And as a result of that, I went through hell and high water with investigations of bullying and harassment, and no matter of all manner of stress. And it was eventually I left that job and I went to another job, and one of the people continued to follow me and harass me.
Wow.
And I was pulled down again. And I said to my then boss, I'm done. I need help. I'm actually recognizing that I need help right now. I'm so stressed. I'm so overwhelmed. I'd lost all my confidence. And I managed to talk my boss into giving me 3 sessions of hypnotherapy because I've done counseling and I've done a lot of work on myself. And I knew I didn't want to just go in and have talk therapy. I needed something deeper. So she agreed, which was awesome. And hats off to her because it was out of the square completely. Anyway, I went and had these 3 sessions, and the lady turned out to be a kinesiologist. I'd never heard of it, ever. And I went and had my 3 sessions of hypnotherapy, and I felt good. And I was like, yep, okay, I can do this. And she said to me, come back on your own accord with your own money at your own time and have a kinesiology session. And I went, yeah, okay, I'll do that. And I went in, I lay on the table, I cried, I laughed, like hysterical, cathartic laughing. It wasn't just a giggle here and there, it was, oh my God, I'm going to wet my pants laughing. Anyway, I ended up shaking, got off the table. I walked down to the beach because I live close to the beach in Maroubra in New South Wales. And I sat on the beach, on the rocks. I'd collected some shells. Unbeknownst to me, I'd collected 7. Yes, they were the colours of the chakras. And I laid them out And it was a wave came over me, and I just went, that's it. I'm meant to be a kinesiologist. This is what I'm meant to be doing. And I didn't even know how to say it. I was like, kinesi, da, da, da.
Right.
And it was this absolute breaking out epiphany. It was unbelievable. I've never experienced anything like that before. And I just knew that's what I meant I was supposed to be doing. So I cried, as you always do when these big things happen.
Mhm.
And I think I probably swore a couple of times. And I walked back and I got in the car and I texted my husband and I told him I'm going to quit my job. And I texted my dad, who has since passed away. And I said to him, I'm going to become a kinesiologist. I don't know how to do it. Have you got any advice? And he wrote back and he said, I don't know what you're talking about, but go for it. Do what makes you happy.
Mm.
And that was like, that was the confirmation I needed. And then the Jonas Brothers song, We Are Done, or I Am Done, We Are Done, came on the radio. And I was like, hell yes, this is it. It was so good. I just, that was it. That was the start of it. And it took me 6 months from there to kind of work out how to do it, what to do, try to negotiate with my work. They wouldn't give me any flexibility, so I quit. My husband was working. He was able to, cover us and
Mm.
support me while I studied. And that was it. So that was in 2015, and I completed in sort of mid 2016 and set up my business in that time. And yeah, 10 years later, here I am still doing it in my home, which is here.
Amazing.
Mm.
I just love, so you're talking about you took this class or had a session with the
Yep,
kinesiologist and you laughed and you cried and felt all the emotions. Can we
yep,
back up to what is a kinesiologist? Because
yes,
we talked last time, I go, oh, it's the muscles, like you study the muscles and you
yeah,
help people get healthy again and walk, right? Or probably that's therapy, physical therapy,
yeah,
but that's what I thought kinesiology was. Can
yeah.
you share what kinesiology is?
So it is different wherever you go. That's one thing I have found, and every kinesiologist seems to work differently.
Mm.
Kinesiology, in a definition, is the study of movement of the body. So it stemmed from chiropractic, and some guy called Goodall, I can't remember his first name, or Goodhart or Goodall, something like that. Anyway, that's irrelevant. It started from kinesiology, and it changed and it became, at one point it was like touch for health, and then it became kinesiology, and now it's kind of branched out into all different specific modalities of kinesiology. It uses muscle testing, which is often you'll see people doing it. They'll put their arm out and people press down. Sorry, my thumb. People press down and it stays. You cause stress
Mm.
and it will drop. And you actually can't hold it at that point. So it's biofeedback of the body telling me, the client's body telling me through muscle testing and activation of different parts of the body what's going on. So the client's body tells me the story. Now, I was never very good at the muscles at college. So I always had a vision that I would work more energetically. And I've always loved the idea of holding people in their vulnerability of their emotions. It's something I've always felt very close about. So when I started, I was always clear that my kinesiology was not going to be about the physicality of the body, although I can help people with physical issues. But that's often because there are emotions that are stuck in their body, which creates stagnation and inflammation. And that's when you start to get physical pain and physical issues. So the way I work is energetically. working with kinesiology. So the body gives me the message, and I work with spirit guides, which is helped along by my shamanic training. And we look at where the emotions are and we gently move into awareness, nurturing, and accepting, and then allowing that to start to flow the energy through the body. So
That's
I do. I use the crystals. I use oils. I use essences. I work with the chakras. I work with the acupuncture system, but not with needles. I use my fingers with acupressure. Yeah, and then I work with my intuition a lot and my spiritual team through the shamanic training.
that's amazing. And it's
It's
incredible. I mean, I love what you're
yeah,
using for the crystals to your guides, and the magic behind it just sounds incredible.
yeah. It's such, I think one of the things that keeps me here doing what I do, even though, income fluctuates and energy fluctuates, and some days I get up and I think, oh, I've got to go to work, and it's just downstairs, and it's like, oh, I really don't feel like it today. I honour that. If I don't want to do it, I will let people know and we reschedule. But for me, it touches my heart to be able to sit in a space with somebody who walks in, sometimes walking in for the very first time in tears because they are so overwhelmed by the pain and the emotion that they're holding that they can't get through it themselves. And they've got to that point where they've gone, I just need someone to hold me and help me and to hear me
Mm.
and to be offered that as an opportunity
Mhm.
is one of the most greatest gifts that I feel I hold on
That's
a daily basis.
that's incredible, because how many of us hold on to our emotions and think,
Oh,
I think society presses on us saying, oh,
yeah,
we got to handle it and do it all ourselves. You
yeah,
know, I don't know how it is in Australia, but out here, I live in California, and
yeah,
it's like you need two incomes, three or four or
yes,
five incomes to come in
yeah,
to pay for just living, and to hold
yeah,
that stress. And it's like people don't even, I mean, I'm guilty of this too at one time, of not even aware of the amount of stress I was holding in my body,
yeah,
which I'm going to
yeah.
tell you too. I'm curious. So, do you offer this online or?
I do, yeah. So I offer it actually in three different, well, you could almost say four different ways actually. So I offer it in person in this clinic, which is in Maroubra in Sydney's eastern beaches, eastern suburbs. I also offer it in person in groups. So I run women's circles and I sometimes do workshops. And I know that is an area that is going to expand. That's not too far down the track, I feel. Yeah. And then I also do online where we can sit like this on Zoom and I will work with you using kinesiology. And the way that works is I surrogate my muscles for yours.
That's
So
incredible.
I become the surrogate. So often you'll see me doing this, which is the way I muscle test, and I surrogate through and I will see what you need using this, which is my body becomes your body.
This is so interesting.
It's very cool. Yeah.
Explain that a bit more for those of us who are skeptics. Like, because I'm like, wait, you're gonna feel my body through you.
Yeah.
You're on the other side of the world. So can
Yeah.
you explain that a
So,
little bit more for
yeah, sure. So the way and I do this with babies and little kids because if you can't muscle physically be there to muscle test or the client is not capable of muscle testing like I had a 4-month-old baby and
Mhm.
I surrogated the mother for the baby. So you set up a surrogacy, you request that all muscles be for the baby be attributed to the mother and then I can muscle test the mother. So I just do the same thing. It's I attribute your muscles to me. So in that moment, I can start to feel things in my body where things are happening. I often feel the emotion coming up, and I'll often get stuff in my throat because a lot of people keep that hidden and stuck. And so
Mhm.
I get a lot of tension in my throat when I work with people because most people don't want to show that they're vulnerable. Most people don't want to show that they can't cope or they can't speak out, you know? So it's almost like the body never lies, but the voice does.
Mm. The
So
body
with
never lies, but the voice does.
Yeah. So I can work past the voice and the ego and work directly with the body, which will give me the answers.
Mm.
Yeah.
That's
And then
incredible.
the other, yeah, sorry, you go.
I was just going to say it's so interesting because how connected we are if we
Yeah.
give ourselves permission, you
Yeah.
know, and it's just mind blowing of like how intelligent our being is and we take it for granted.
Absolutely. It's funny, like some of your listeners might be gelling, might be connecting.
Mhm.
And it's not a surprise that I'm raising this now because we're talking about this. And this is the connection, you know.
Mhm.
Like if people are feeling something towards me, there's a reason for that. Now
Mhm.
you can ignore it and go, "Oh, she's on the other side of the road, other side of the world." It's not possible. But you're not listening to this for a reason. You're listening to this for a reason, and this conversation is coming up for a reason.
Right.
So those connections are always happening. I mean, at the end of the day, we're water and electricity. That's basically in a
Water.
in a body of many, many different shapes and sizes. But essentially, we're water and we're electricity.
That's a key part, but I don't even want to go into that science. Let's talk more about you and your journey. With so you went to this appointment with the kinesiologist, you went to the beach afterwards and
Yeah.
realized this is what I want to do with all the
Yeah.
information. What was your journey? So and prior to that, you were in a career that you were experiencing bullying and harassment, which is oh my God, for me, I felt my energy just went like, whoa,
Yeah.
that's a lot because it's so draining. And
Yes. Yeah.
hence, you know, when you went to the kinesiologist, you're feeling this emotions coming up, you know. And
Mm.
what was your journey after you decided to be a kinesiologist, you know, to having your business? Because I mean, that journey, I mean,
Yeah.
you're a mom, a wife, you know, all
Yep.
the things. What was that like with the transition? And was this like your second, third career change, or what can you
Yeah.
give
There've
us
been a few.
you know give us an idea of what that because like
Mm.
I guess the part is like you don't need to be stuck where you are. And you
No.
know, where did that come in your journey? Because I know you're a mom as well.
Yeah.
You know, did you have
Yeah.
kids in this when you decided to do this shift? And, you know,
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
does that look like? Can you share that with us?
Well, I'm going to go back to the beginning now.
Okay, perfect.
Because I was born in England in 1978, and in no, not in 1978. I was born in 1967. I was like, I've just given myself 11 years. Yay!
You're as young as you feel.
Hey. So I was born in 1967 in England, and we emigrated to Perth in 1978. So I was 11 years old. And at that time, I was always fascinated in the things that weren't seen and the things that were like the energy and crystals and different things like that. And it wasn't until my 20s that I started to get serious into it. And I started to look into things like Reiki. So I've got a level 2 Reiki. I started to look into channeling and transmogrification, which is a real mind blow.
What was that
And
again?
transmogrification.
Ooh.
It is where it's basically a hot seat, and you sit in a hot seat and you watch spirit come over somebody and their face completely changes. It is a complete mind spin. So I've been in the hot seat and I've had people spirit over the top of me And I've actually watched people do that, and I've watched the different faces and different body, and they people talk in different languages,
Mm.
and it's like, where's the person gone, and they're just kind of absorbed. Anyway, that's a very big conversation.
Right.
That's
I'm
another
like, ooh,
podcast.
this is another episode.
That's another podcast, babe, in itself.
Sure, that's like the sacredness of like our bodies, right? The
I
spirit,
know.
we're spirit. So continue it. So you,
Yeah. So look, I learned all these things, and I always thought it's a hobby. I just love it. I like working in that space and playing in that space, but I never thought it could be a career. And in my sort of mid-20s, I went off the rails. A lot of partying, drinking, being an idiot like you do, and doing some silly things. And then when I came over to Sydney, by then I'd also met my now husband. So we met in 1998, and then we moved to Sydney and we started eventually living together as a couple. It took a little while. And in 2003, I had my first child, Grace, a daughter. She's now 22, turning 23. And in 2008, I had my son, Bodhi, and he's just turned 18. And then in 2015, I completely uprooted my career and went into studying. So my husband has carried us for a long time with his work and his wage. And we were very fortunate that he could do that, because I probably wouldn't have been able to do it without him. So I had to meet him. When I met him, actually, it was really beautiful because we were at a conference. And I said, on the day 2 of meeting him, I said to him, I don't know how it's going to look, but you are going to be in my life forever. And that was day 2 of meeting him. It's now 25 years later, and we're married with 2 kids and a house and a dog.
I love how you declared it. You're like, and the confidence to say that to someone.
Yeah,
It's
I
like
know. On day 2.
day two. So women, ladies,
Yeah,
when you see that man, you tell him you're gonna be in my life. That is so
absolutely.
beautiful and such an
And
incredible story. Like, wow. So
yeah,
he's
but the
supporting you.
reason that worked was because I had no attachment to it.
Mm,
I had no attachment to it. I just needed him to know that he will be in my life. I didn't know how it looked. I didn't care how it looked. I
mhm.
just knew we were going to be connected in some way. And it evolved into where we are now. So then, by the time I got to finishing study, I'd registered the business already before I even finished, and we had literally just finished these renovations. So it became, oh well, I'll just have a table up just when clients are there. And over the next sort of 2 or 3, 4 years, this is my space. This is now known as the clinic. So everybody's kind of morphed around it and catered for this to happen. So clients come here, the family are quiet and sometimes not that quiet, and I have to kind of remind them. And sometimes the dog barks. Occasionally there's a workman that arrives at the wrong time, and these things happen, but that's me. That's the space that I provide. It's dynamic and it's changes, and but the service that I offer is still there, still the same, and I roll with those punches, I guess. So there has been a lot, and since starting the business, it was tough. I stopped myself for the first year. Biggest mistake I made. I said, okay, I've got to get everything sorted right before I can see somebody. So when I finished college, I'd set the business up. It's like, I have to get a website. I have to set up all this social media stuff, which I didn't even understand. I've got to have all my systems in place. Everything has to look right. And so I didn't see any clients for about a year and a bit.
Wow.
And when I eventually, it hit me, was like, oh my God, like I'm running a business. No, I'm not. I'm setting up a space, but a business means helping people. So For me, it was a big realization, and I was like, "Nah, I've got to actually start seeing clients." So by then, I was so rusty, and I'd lost all my confidence, and I was like, "Oh my God!" So I undercharged. I saw people and felt like a fraud. I struggled with getting myself motivated enough. I really was stuck and into this space of I can't do this. And I lost a lot of my self value.
Mm.
And so I went and saw a couple of people and I got a bit of support and I just started to go, you know what, you've just got to keep doing it. Just keep going. This is what you're meant to be doing. You know, I knew it within my heart. This is what I'm meant to be doing. And so I just kept putting one foot in front of the front of the other. And it started to build and then COVID hit. And it was like, oh, okay. And Australia, we kind of got hit really hard, not by necessarily by COVID, but by the rules and the regulations. We were supposed to get, 6 vaccinations and stuff like that. And I didn't. Probably shouldn't say that on here, but anyway, I didn't.
To each their own.
It's choice.
You chose not to. So,
Yeah,
hey, this is your story. This is your
yeah,
journey. So let's
yeah,
just bring it back to truth. It's your sacred journey.
yeah.
So,
So I decided
yeah.
I will close because we had to. By law, we had to close. And it was about 5 or 6 weeks later. And, it was going gangbusters, and I was feeling the fear and the anxiety and the weight of all of this. And I thought, bugger it, I'm going to open my doors. People need help. People are really struggling. And so I opened up my clinic. I put out a command to the universe and to spirit and to my spiritual team. And I said, I need you to protect my house, my clinic, myself, and my family. So as a result, we didn't get sick. None of us got COVID. Nobody came here with COVID. The place was protected. I was open for business. And that's when my business took off. I trusted that I had to do this and that this was part of my journey. So it expanded and I was able to then quit a job. I was working in a physio clinic as a part-time receptionist. And in that, I worked out who I didn't want as clients and I worked out some of the systems that I didn't know I needed. So it was a really good learning opportunity for me and great people. They were lovely. So I did that until I then left there. I think that would have been about 2000 and probably 22,
Mhm.
maybe. And I became here full time.
It's amazing.
So yeah, so that was a journey. And then since 2022, I've studied shamanic energy. I've worked with primitive reflexes. I've learned Australian bushflower essences. I'm a practitioner of liquid crystals, and I'm bringing and access bars. That's the other thing I did, and I'm bringing all that in together in clinic. And now I work a lot with children and teenagers, and also with mums. So kind of bringing the family together and helping with emotions of the family and allowing that to ripple out. And yeah, and I'm now running women's circles and different groups and things. Yeah.
That is so incredible. And I love how thank you for doing the numerology with this too, because like I can visually see, who this and who did not get hit with 2020, right?
Absolutely.
It's like they're making up rules out of their asses. Let's just say that.
Yes.
So you can speak whatever. If you feel like you need to, say some everything's appropriate here.
Yeah.
So this
Good.
is an 18 and up audience, just FYI. So
Yeah.
thank you for that numerology because like I can see like, okay, here as a young girl, you moved, and it sounds like you have like so much support around you, you know.
Mm.
Do you feel like that's something that was so important in your own success of where you are today?
Yeah. Absolutely. I had a really, my parents were really supportive. I look back on my childhood and, that I can't name a trauma. There are traumas, but I can't sit here and say I was abused or I was beaten or there was, excessive issues going on. My dad drank a lot, and that has actually played out in my life as well. And from as a baby, I carry a mother wound that stemmed from when I was a baby. So I would have been 1 or 2 years old, and we relocated to a new house in England. And apparently, and I only know the story because mum told me, apparently I was very young. We went in the night. I was screaming up at the corner of the room and sort of flailing my arms around and uncontrollable screaming. And apparently, mum was tried to calm me. She couldn't calm me down. Eventually, I would have fallen asleep. Crying excessively is exhausting. So eventually, I would have fallen asleep. But when I did the shamanic studies in 22, 23, I actually did some work back to that time. And I found out that my mum thought I was possessed and that I was clearly seeing something. I was clearly non-verbal at that stage and certainly not to be able to explain what I was seeing. And she thought I was possessed. Now, I've found this out by doing work with my mum passed away a couple of years ago. And so I've done work in that time with her over in with spirit. And so she thought I was possessed. And that mother wound has been with me since I was 1, 2 years old. And it has affected my life moving forward.
How did it affect your life? Because here I see this incredible woman who's so confident, whose voice is just her throat chakras open,
Yeah.
but you said even with your father and his drinking, it affected you. How did those
Mm.
things affected you and how did you move out of it? Was it, I mean, you share the kinesiology, but
Yeah.
you also shared the bullying and harassment, which is like something else, but was
Yeah.
can you kind of share a little more on that?
Yeah. So I want to make one little rider on that. The bullying harassment was, I was being accused of that.
Oh,
Yeah. I was being accused of bullying because I was trying to performance manage the staff and they didn't like it. So
mm,
I got called in as the bully. Um, it got completely wiped out. It was a non-entity after investigations. It was,
interesting.
that wasn't, they confirmed that I was not a bully and I was simply trying to do the job as the manager. But anyway, that's to the side now. But
Okay.
so I guess the alcohol of my dad that led to a lot of stress, stress in the family home. There were often arguments and things like that. He worked a lot. He was a workaholic, and I think I've carried that belief that you're only doing successfully and doing well if you're working hard, and
Mhm.
you've got to work hard to be successful. And I know that that's actually not the case now. I've used alcohol as a way of connecting, as a way of disappearing. I've used it to soothe my nerves, even though I probably deep down know that it's not helping. And I know that I feel the effects of that now through being a little bit overweight and having high cortisol, and those sorts of aspects are there. I'm managing that now in various ways. But the mother wound was, I basically, what I did was I shut down my gifts, and
Mhm.
I made a decision that I shouldn't share them. I shouldn't let them be seen. I was told recently that from about the age of 12, which is when I first came out to Australia, interestingly, I was 11 when I came out, that from about the age of 12, was, I had all that I needed to work with people to heal and support them with their emotions. I'm now 58. It's taken me all that time to get to a point where I'm now beginning to believe that I can do this. So you see a confident woman, but you don't see the journey that
Right.
got me here, and I am confident. My voice has really only come out in the last couple of years. I kept very quiet. And even now, I struggle sometimes to voice my opinions and my values and things that seem a little bit woo woo. I'm still nervous to share those. But it is changing, and it is shifting. But I guess, the journey has been one of give it a go, fear, back off, anger, deep sadness, letting go, holding on. It's been a roller coaster of a journey in some ways, but there's always been one core belief, and that is I want to do this, and I know that I'm meant to be doing this. And, to have that confirmation recently that from the age of 12, I had the capacity and all the things that I needed to be able to do what I'm doing now, that to me, it was like a light bulb went on.
That's, am-
That was amazing to hear that.
that's amazing. And thank you for sharing your vulnerability and being vulnerable and sharing this because, we think, oh, they were born like this and what's they don't think of the process,
Yeah,
and I go, we never know what somebody went through, the blood, sweat, and tears that made them become who
absolutely.
they are today. And
Mm,
it's incredible because I love how you said, I want to do this and I am meant to do this. And
yeah,
you said it hit you like what is it, like a light bulb,
light bulb, yeah.
like a light bulb, right? And even prior to that, and what was going on in your head? Like, here you are at 12, that you were confirmed saying that you had everything you needed to help others. But then
Yeah,
not until now at 58 that you believe in yourself. And where was that shift that you were like, I believe in myself and like you said, I want to do this and I am meant to do that. And is that referring to the kinesiology or just in life in general? Or can you explain
yeah.
a bit more?
I I think part of me still doesn't quite believe it.
Mm.
It's like someone said to me today, actually, this morning, and I'm not going to say the lady's name, but I want to say what she said. She said that we've come from our parents, and our parents have been our taxi ride to Earth. Our parents were our taxi ride to Earth. So get over the story that you're holding around it. That's what they were. They were the taxi that drove us to Earth. And their story is their story. You don't have to hold on to that. So get over their story and, choose to accept what's happened and move on from that. Now, I can't say there's been a single moment where I have realized or sat into a space of I can do this, I'm confident without any shadow of a doubt. There has been many moments along the way. There's been many moments of awareness. There's many, many moments of fear and I can't do this and what the F. But it's like I've there's always been something there. And I do work a lot. When I work with spirit, I work a lot with knowing and clear knowing. And I
Mm.
feel it as I know it. I don't know how I know it. I don't know why I know it. I just know it. And it has taken me a good 2 to 3 years of quite strong work building that trust in me. And along the way, I've had enough confirmations to make me say, I can believe this, I can trust this. And so I think that answers the question in that it hasn't been a moment, it's been a building and a a level of growth and trust.
Ooh, I felt I felt that. And thank you for just the rawness of that because
Yeah.
what I took from it was the moment of feeling confident. And then you're hit with something new, right? Or a challenge to
Yeah.
overcome, and you keep going. So
Mm.
thank you for that, just rawness, because I think those moments where we're not feeling confident or believing in ourselves, there's that thing to just say, keep on going, like what you were
Yeah.
saying earlier. You just kept on going after you were like done, or after
Yeah.
you out of the, out of your practice for like a year and a half, and you decide, oh, what am I doing? I'm just setting things up. I'm not building a business and helping
Yes.
others. And I
Yes.
love your passion with that. It's incredible.
Yeah.
And it's so beautiful because it's like the why. Why are you doing this? Why are
Yes.
you moving forward? So,
Yeah.
thank you.
And I guess, one of my gifts, I believe, is to bring people together to heal. And I do run women's circles and they go up and down in success, but I continue with them. And new ideas are coming out, new offerings and new things coming out, and I get stuck by that resistant wall of, you can't do this. Why, what's going to, you're going to be rejected. You're going to be ridiculed. Like, pull your head in. And I struggle with that and I battle with it. And eventually I go, no, this is actually the one that I want to follow and I'm going to do it. And I, you know, I can get a little bit like a workaholic and I will push into it. But then it's always that sense of, no, pull back. Just get into the feminine space of, the feminine power is so powerful. It's so strong and it's a yielding. It's the yin of the feminine is about being. And when we take a step back, it's not giving up, it's not surrendering as such. What it's doing is yielding into the power to allow space for things to be created. Because the feminine creates, the masculine does. But you've got to create it before you can do it. So you've got to have the space. So when I get to that point and it's like, oh, push through, keep going. It's like, step back, step back, take a breath, let it settle, let it unfold before you and see where the tentacles are going and step into that.
Mm,
And that's how I'm beginning to work more and more, is into that space of, the Aquarian age is about the feminine.
mm,
And, we're in that right now. And the Aquarian race, Aquarian time is all about fairness
mm,
as well. So it's about being fair for everyone, not just offering something for just for women all the time, but actually offering stuff for men. So I know I'm going to be moving into that space and offering things for men and women.
that's
That's coming.
I love this. I love how you brought in the Aquarian time because Aquarius, they're as I see Aquarians, they march to their own drum beats,
Yeah,
and that's a beauty. It's time for us to step into
yeah,
that and shine our light, right? And I love that you're doing that. So we
yeah.
are getting close to a close, and I want to ask you as our final question, what is something that you would like? It could be either or that you wish you knew at a young age, or that you would like to share with those that are watching this. What is that thing?
Oh, big question. Um, I I wish that I had, as that little girl, I wish that I had paid more attention to her, to actually, as an adult. She was with me when I was in my mum's tummy, when she was in, oh, not in my mum's, sorry, in my mum's body when she was in my grandma. So
Mhm.
there's a lot, it's 3 generations of wisdom in that. And I wish I had spent more time and more had more awareness around connecting with that little girl. She's not your inner child in the sense that she's younger than you and not as experienced. She's been with you since your mum was in your grandma.
Interesting.
While your grandma was carrying your mother, that little girl was there. So she has all that wisdom. And
Mm,
I guess one of my things now at the moment is to rebuild that connection with her, that little girl who is very wise, very knowledgeable, will hold a grudge, will chuck a tantrum when things don't go right, but to actually let her know that I'm okay now and I can hold the show and you're welcome to sit at the table with me and be a part of it because you have as much wisdom as I have, as does my crone and my higher self that is also there,
mm,
you know? So I guess that's my stance is, you can't get rid of your shadow. You can't get rid of your inner child. It's about bringing them to the table and accepting them and loving them and letting them be a part of your life because they hold so much wisdom. And you can feel that in the body.
mm. Yeah.
It's not a surprise you're touching your heart because you feel it. And
Mhm.
when you actually give that space and opportunity to be there and grow, you feel it.
Mhm. Oh my goodness. Thank you. Thank you. I do feel it. And I'm like, she wants to play.
Yeah,
Right? That's
yeah.
okay. Oh my goodness.
So honor it. Like, what did you used to do? What did you used to do as a kid that you loved? That time stood still. And for me, it was coloring in. And I doodle and color in, not as much as I'd like to, but I do. But yeah, do those things. Find time for them. Let her play.
Her play. Mine is dancing.
Yeah.
And like, I also,
Beautiful.
yeah, professional belly dancer. So I'm like, watching the videos.
You should have music on at the end and we all dance.
Right. See, I'm learning. I'm in the process of learning. And I was like thinking of that today. Like I go, I would love to have music coming on and then, music coming.
Yeah, that's so cool.
But, you know, for the meantime, here we are.
Yeah. And it's perfect.
Thank you. And I just want to thank you for being our guest speaker here on Sacred Her Story. And thank you for the audience who listened. Thank you for She is Sacred, highly exalted rebel. And Zoe, thank you so much for your vulnerability, your rawness, um, just your beauty. So, everyone, if you want to connect with Zoe, get some kinesiology done and laugh, giggle, cry, and just release.
Yeah.
Her information will be below in the added information, and you'll be able to contact her. So,
Yeah.
thank you, everyone. Sending you all love. Zoe, thank you so much.
Thank you so much. It's been an absolute pleasure. And thank you to the readers and listeners. I really appreciate the opportunity. Thank you.
Yeah, I have find where the stuff is. Moment here.